Hi there, my name is Professor Jeff Ashley, and I am one of the coordinators for the Freshman Chemistry Lab Experience. And what I'd like to do in this short video is go through the Canvas course site just to navigate you and orient yourself with some of the functionality and the information that lies within this site. All right, so if you go into the Canvas course site, you can go to the Home tab and bring up the home message here, which is a course description, some of the objectives of the laboratory. But more importantly, the Home button is a great place to see your to-do list. So on the right, you will see all the upcoming things that you have due. All right, and that is updated according to the due dates. I think the most important tab, though, is the Module tab. And if we click on the Module tab, you can see a whole bunch of these things called modules. So each module pretty much corresponds to each week of the course. There are approximately 15 weeks in our semesters, and each module corresponds to that week. So in Module 1, that corresponds to week 1, and so forth here, Module 2, week 2. So you get that. This block up here is, I'll call it a module, but it's not really a module. It's just important resources and information regarding the course. So it's here that you'll find this welcome message that you stumbled upon, why the course is so important. The course syllabus, which is really important. It's really a document that outlines the schedule of the labs, your grading system, some of the course policies. So make sure you see that. An important document here and how to write a full lab report. I'm going to speak a little more about that in a moment. A periodic table and lab notebooks, which again, I'll speak to in a moment. Let's go back to this idea of modules. So apart from this block, the modules are set up to correspond to each week, and each module contains a pre-lab section of a whole bunch of things and a post-lab section with one or more things. So if I scroll down here, there's the pre-lab section, and here's the post-lab section. The pre-lab section is all those things that you have to read, watch, engage in prior to coming to laboratory, and that includes a weekly quiz. So I'm assuming that everybody will go through and read the introduction, the procedure, maybe watch these videos, not maybe, definitely watch these videos, engage with that material, understand it, and then upon completion of all that stuff, you take the lab quiz prior to setting foot into your lab section. Okay, so that's the pre-lab stuff. Once you go to the lab, you'll engage in some hands-on activity called an experiment. And after that, you're going to then address these post-lab things. The post-lab things are upkeep of your notebook. There might be questions. There might be what we term a communication skill. And then you'll upload all those things according to your instructor's due date. So just a note on going back to this notebooks, we require you to keep a lab notebook. This is a bound notebook, like a composition book that can be affordably purchased at a bookstore or some store. You're going to use that on a weekly basis. And if you're wondering what goes into that, you can go up here to the top and click on lab notebooks. And we even give you an example of a lab notebook. So that's what you'll be doing every week. To prove that you're keeping up with your lab notebook, you're going to then scan in or take a photo of those pages of the notebook, and you're going to upload them weekly as part of your post-lab activity. The post-lab activities also are not just uploading your notebook pages, but also, as I said before, maybe some post-lab questions, these communication skills. Okay, so formal lab reports. Formal lab reports are pretty hefty things that require you to do a lot of sections and a lot of writing. So what's in a formal lab report or a full lab report? The sections are here from title, abstract, intro, methodology section, etc. And you can look at this. As I said, this is pretty hefty. We don't require you to do a lab report every week. In fact, this course is sort of baby stepping you through each of these sections or components of a full lab report on a weekly basis. So if we go back to the modules, I can tell you what I mean by that. So we can look at the modules, and I'll just skip down to a random one here. So one of the sections of a lab report is writing a discussion and a conclusion section. So in lab 4, you'll do that experiment. And instead of writing a full lab report that week, you're just going to be concentrating on developing your skills in writing a discussion and a conclusion section. And the following week, we're going to develop your skills on doing a calculation section, which is part of the results section. Here we look at the methodology section, or methods and materials. So each week you're developing a certain communication skill that, if you put it all together, will form what we call a full lab report. Lab number 9 then brings all of those sections together. So up until this point, you haven't done a full lab report, but laboratory 9 requires you to do that. So you've developed all your skills in writing and doing each of those components. You bring it all together here. So conduct the experiment in lab 9, and then you write a full lab report. So again, reiterating, there's not full lab reports every week. We are baby stepping you through the process and building your skills for each section, and then you put it all together towards the end of the semester. Another thing to note here, if I jump to module 14, week 14, and that's right before the Thanksgiving break, you have your final in-person lab, and this lab is an in-person final exam. Listen to this. Remember, you're keeping well-documented notes in your notebook and outlining everything, including calculations and whatever observations you have. That notebook, you are allowed to bring that into the final exam. So that is your cheat sheet or cheat notebook to allow you to do much better on the final exam. So it's really imperative that you keep a really detailed and well written lab notebook on a weekly basis, because, hey, in the end, that is your guidance and helpful tool to really succeed in that final exam. Okay. That is a good overview of the Canvas site. Another thing here, a tab that you may choose to look at, is your assignments, so you can see the assignments and also your grades too. So you'll be periodically viewing your grades as they pop up, and your instructor populates that. But again, the meat of this Canvas site, or all Canvas sites really, are these modules. Everything is laid out really prescriptively on this. So just take a look at this. Your instructor may choose not to unveil every week of the course. In fact, I'm going to urge the instructors just to unveil a couple weeks ahead. So you'll probably see week 1 and week 2. Also note, very important, this semester we are starting off with the first week of classes having labs. So if you're a Monday morning lab, please be there. All right, so we're hitting the ground running this year. Wonderful to have you on campus, and if you need anything, please email or talk to your instructor, and you can always email me. It's jeffrey.ashley@jefferson.edu, and I'd be happy to answer any of your questions. Have a great semester and have fun. This course is really cool. Be enthusiastic. Also, paramount, be safe. Have a good one.